It is good to be here today. I live around the corner and grew up not too far from here on Poplar Grove in Pressbury. It's a reminder that the best treasures are often close to home. Last night, I saw Marjani's work at the Brown Center. Is that what it is? Sorry, the Brown Center. It was great. And one of the things that art does is art reminds us of like the stories that we don't even know we need to be told, of like the power and imagination that sometimes we don't know that we're missing. You know, I taught sixth grade math in East New York, Brooklyn, which was incredible. Sixth graders are the best grade. If any of you have ever been around seventh graders, you know seventh grade is puberty and deodorant, and it is bad. But sixth grade is like still a little bit of magic. They still believe. And I taught 60, 90, and 120-minute classes to 11-year-olds, which is a very long time to teach 11-year-olds anything, let alone math. And one day they were like, Mr. Mckesson, can we go to gym early? And I'm like, absolutely. I'm tired of y'all. Y'all are tired of me. Everybody can go to gym. So they come back really quick, though. And I'm like, why are y'all back? And what I realized that they're in love with the idea of gym more than the work of gym. And I say that because in this moment, I think there are people more in love with the idea of resistance than the work of resistance. So I want to spend my brief time here today talking about the work. And this isn't that the ideas don't matter. The ideas are important. Freedom is an idea. Justice is an idea. We think about the difference between equality and equity, that equality is a notion that everybody gets the same thing. Equity is a notion that people get what they need and deserve. These are ideas. But I want to talk about three big thoughts and then one question. The first is I've always thought about art as a window and a mirror. A window sort of looking out, helping people see things that they don't know that they need to see, helping people discover in places they don't know discovery is possible. And a mirror helping you look back on yourself and reflect in those hard truths. Now, the thing about the mirror work is that you have to be honest to do that, and the thing about the window work is that you have to imagine to do that. Baldwin has this great quote, and he says, "This force which you didn't ask for, and this destiny which you must accept is also your responsibility. And if you survive it, if you don't cheat, if you don't lie, it is not only, your glory, your achievement, it is almost our only hope." And I think about art as this incredible gift. Like you are the people who are the original truth tellers in so many ways. The people who show us how far we have to go, the people who show us how far we've come. The people who paint and talk and sew and craft and sculpt the things that are trapped inside of people's imagination, the people and the artists who make the seemingly invisible visible. I've always thought about the protesters as the artists of democracy. The people too sort of pushing and saying, here's the world that can be. The people being honest about here are the challenges that we still face. And when I think about this truth-telling work, I've always thought about protest as telling the truth in public, that we stood in the street and we told the truth with our bodies, that Freddie and Mike and Tamir and so many other people should be alive today. And that the truth-telling work is hard. And you have to be willing to stand alone in the truth as long as you stand on the right side of justice. People are confused about fear. It's not the absence of fear. It is about walking into the fear. That we know that fear exists, and you want to make sure that the fear doesn't overpower the other emotions, but that you walk into the fear. I think about what we did in Ferguson. We were in the street for 400 days. If you ever saw us marching, it wasn't that we thought marching was cool. It was illegal to stand still in August, September, and October of 2014. That if we stood still for more than 5 seconds, we were arrested. And I remember those days like they were yesterday because they felt like it. And that was us walking into the fear every day. And the thing about the truth too is that don't confuse exhaustion with impact. There are a lot of people who think that whoever's the most tired is the best. You can do this work and be well rested. You can fight for justice and still experience joy. Now, the second bucket I'll need you to help me with, and it's a repeat after me, this chant that we said in the early days in the street. No justice, no peace. People hear that and they often think about that as sort of a threat, but we always think about that as a reminder that there is no justice or there's no peace if there is no justice. That peace without justice is just a call for order and compliance, and we refuse to live in a world where that is something that we accept. That if you want to keep the peace, then you should just try justice. If peace is being able to walk home and feel safe, if peace is being able to have kids who can read and write in all neighborhoods, and if peace is living wages and everybody can eat and have a shelter, like, I don't know how you get there without justice. And we want a living, breathing justice. We want a justice that says that Mike Brown is going to work today, a justice that says Freddie Gray is somewhere in our community, a justice that says Tamir Rice is at his prom. We don't want an abstract justice because an abstract justice is predicated on an abstract peace. We want a justice that we can feel and touch and taste and hear. We want a peace that we can feel and touch and taste and hear. That we have fought for symbols for far too long. We want the real thing. Poverty is not justice. Police violence is not justice. A generation of kids that can't read and write is not justice. And I say this to you because this message is about hope, that we believe that hope is the understanding that our tomorrows can be better than our todays. So when King says the arc bends towards justice, we're reminded that it only bends because people bend it. And it'll have to be the people like you. That when we say this, when people say the system is broken and their reply is, the system is working exactly like it was designed, what we take away from that is that the system was designed. And because somebody designed it, we can design something else. So know that this is yours, and hope is a part of the work, but it'll take us actually doing it. That hope is not magic, that hope itself is work. The third and final bucket is this idea that there are three sets of people in the world, and what type of person will you be? I think that there are salt shakers, there are sugar high chasers, and then there are the bridge builders. The salt shakers drive me the most nuts. These are the people who sit down at the dining room table and they pour salt on their dinner before they've tasted a single thing. Because they sort of know that we're doomed. They're like, you know what, can't win, food's gonna be bad, but I gotta eat anyway, but I'm just gonna dump salt on it. And in the work, these are the people who are the pessimists, the people who show up and they're like, we're already doomed, can't win, can't do it. And the hard thing about that is that they pre-contaminate any solution that you might offer, because they sort of sit down and say, we're already doomed. And what we believe is that the work is hard, that this work won't be easy, and it's not always clear we will see the gains we want in this lifetime, but we know the work matters. The second set of people are the sugar high chasers. I was doing a talk in San Francisco not too long ago, and this woman DM'd me on Twitter. She said, DeRay, you coming to the protest? I said, what's the protest about? She said, I don't know, but I got my sign. I said, well, I don't know, right? Because you are chasing the high. You are not chasing the work, you're not chasing freedom, and you're not chasing justice. You are chasing the high. And I'm sensitive to it because I know that what it means to be marginalized, that you often grow up on the margin, and on the margin you are unheard and unseen. And in moments like this, people get heard and seen in ways they've never been heard and seen before. And people get addicted to being heard and seen more than they get addicted to being free. But we name this because we know that the only way to get to the other side of freedom is by chasing the right thing. And the high is not the right thing. The third are the bridge builders. These are the people, you think the bridge builders matter because they build the bridge, but the bridge builders really matter because they see an open space and think that something can go there. These are the people who take the random ingredients and they make something beautiful. The people who build something not only for themselves, but for everybody around them. And we need a world of bridge builders. That doesn't mean that you are not critical of the world, but you are critical because you know we can build something better. And the question becomes, what type of person will you be? Now, the last question I'll leave you with at the end of this is a quote by Pastor Rich, who you probably don't know. I was moderating this panel with Jerry Lorenzo, the designer for Fear of God, maybe you know Jerry, and Pastor Rich, who you know of because he married Kim and our beloved Kanye. Pray for Kanye. But I was preparing for this conversation with Pastor Rich and Jerry, and I had to listen to a lot of Pastor Rich's sermons, and he gave this incredible sermon on hope, and he ends with this question that I'll leave to you. He said, if God answered all your prayers, would it just change you, or would it change the world? Thank you.